Well, these are the assembly instructions for my pop-up card, and this card is retirement themed. A smaller card will pop up from the interior of this card when you open the larger card. So we're going to start by assembling the smaller card. So these are the panels for the smaller card. So I have one rectangle with a score line in the center, and I've just folded down on that score line. And then I have two identical pieces that have a score line that forms a tab on one side once it's folded down. So I'm just folding down on those score lines, just putting glue on that tab from the score line to the edge, and then I'm tucking it under. And I want the score line of my tab to be right at the edge of the cut edge of this card. And I want the top and the bottom to be nice and even. And then I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And I have that score line right at the cut edge of my larger panel, like so. So while my piece is still flat, I'm going to decorate the panels for my card. I have 4 panels on the inside of my card, and then once I close down my card, I have 2 more panels to decorate here. So these are the 6 panels, and this one will be the cover. The first layer has some metallic blue cardstock, and then a layer of foil poster board. And then I have a layer of foil craft board, and the lettering is cut out of yellow vinyl. And I'm just going to put glue on the underside of each layer and glue it pretty much the way you see it now, trying to maintain an even border all the way around that outer rectangle. And then I have the 5 other panels, which consist of a piece of cardstock, some more of that foil poster board, and then my print then cut element. So I'm going to just glue down all of those, trying to keep an even border around each layer. So I'm going to fold those 2 outer panels in, and I'm going to glue down my title, and then I can choose any one of the others to glue down onto the front. I'm putting glue on the back of those panels and just gluing them down. Then I'm going to open up those panels, and I'm going to glue down the 4 other panels. So that's my card that goes inside my card. So next I have my card base for the larger card, and I'm folding down on the score line that's in the center of the rectangle. I have 2 pieces of craft board. I have used the debossing tool to make a design on my card panels. If you do not have the debossing tool, you can use regular cardstock instead of this foil craft board, and you can use the pen feature to write the design instead of debossing it. So I'm just gluing my panels down. They're each on 1/2 of my card base. I'm trying to leave an even border all the way around my panels as I glue them down. So now I'm working on my mechanism. So my mechanism is only 3 pieces. This is the main mechanism for the center, and I'm holding it so that my G's are facing towards me. And I have a score line here, a score line here, and a score line here. Those are the 3 that we're starting with. So I'm going to fold this down as a mountain fold, folding the right part away from me, right to the rectangle. And then this little short one, I'm folding it down as well. And then there's the score line in between them. And I'm folding that, and I'm just pushing on that one. It's a valley fold, so I'm pushing downwards. And that'll bring those 2 sides together, like so. So it looks like that. I'm going to do the same thing at the other end. So I'm folding a mountain fold on my left-hand side. I'm skipping the score line that goes straight up, going to the next score line, and again, mountain fold. And as I do that, I'm pushing in that center score line, and it's going to become a valley fold. So it caves in under the pressure, bringing these 2 pieces together, like so. And then you're going to notice a little score line starting from the bottom of the purple line going straight up. So I'm folding that whole triangle towards the G and then away from the G. I'm going to flip my piece around and do the exact same thing on the other side. If I was working with regular cardstock here, I would put glue all over where you see the purple lines. So from the edge of this diagonal line all the way to this straight line, cover that in glue, and then do the same for the other side. But since I'm working with foil craft board and there's a bit of a finish onto it, it would take a little bit longer for my glue to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use red line tape, and I'm just covering the area that I would cover with glue with red line tape instead. So now that I've covered both those areas with red line tape, I'm just peeling the liner off my tape. My card base is 7 inches high, so the center point would be at 3.5 inches. I'm just putting a tick mark at 3.5. Then I'm going to take my mechanism and I'm placing it so that it's centered over that tick mark. There's the cutout in the center that shows me the opening. I want to place it so that the sides of that rectangle are nice and straight and right against the edge of my panel. So now I have my 2 tabs at each end, and I'm just folding down on the score lines. I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge on both tabs. And then, so this will go against your instincts, I have my book upside down, closing my card, and I'm inserting my booklet as far as it'll go. I am trying to place it as centered as possible on my mechanism. So the amount at the top and at the bottom are more or less the same. And then I'm closing my card down and I'm waiting for that glue to take. I'm applying a little bit of pressure where those tabs are. So then when you open it, it kind of flips all over the place. So next I have my 2 support pieces. So I'm folding down on those 2 horizontal score lines, but not on that vertical score line for that triangle. I've left that intact. I've put red line tape on the back of the square that has the triangle attached to it. I'm removing the liner on the red line tape. Again, if I wasn't using foil craft board or a material with this type of finish, I would not be using red line tape. It's so much easier to use glue. I'm going to position this piece so that the point of that little triangle is right at that score line. So if you look underneath, there's that score line of that part that's adhered to the base of my card. So the point of my triangle is right up against that score line, and the edge follows the edge of my mechanism piece like so. I've glued this one down, and now I have a second one, but it's going to go on the other side. So this is the side that's going to be facing upwards with my triangle on my right hand side. I'm going to flip it around and put red line tape on the panel that has a triangle attached to it. I'm removing the lining from the red line tape. I've already glued down the one on the right hand side. Now I'm gluing down the one on the left hand side, and the same thing applies. I want that triangular piece to fit right on the section that's glued down. You want the tip of the triangle to be right at the score line here, and the cut edge of the triangle is following along the cut edge of the mechanism like so. So next I'm folding down this piece on that last panel, so on the last score line, and I'm putting glue all over, and then I'm carefully holding it flat while I'm closing my card, and then I'm applying pressure where that tab is. And then I'm going to do that for the other side as well. I'm folding down the tab that's on the end of that piece I've just glued in. I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge, and then I'm folding my card down again and applying pressure where that tab is. So then when I open my card, I have the newfound support, so it positions my card just nicely. The reason why I put my smaller card upside down is because I want this to be a landscape card. So when it opens, the recipient just opens the card like so. And I have my panels for the front. So I have my green panel, my metallic gold panel, and then I have my diploma with my license to chill. So I'm just going to glue those together and then glue them on the front of my card. My diploma is a print and cut. I've applied some gold vinyl for the decoration around it. So this is a retirement card for a former teacher, also former principal. So it seemed applicable to have a diploma on the top. I've placed my front panel and I'm just going in with my bone folder on the inside. Make sure that that glue spreads evenly. And then I have the same 2 colors for the back of my card. And so next for the wax seal, that's on the cover of my card. I've got a little wax seal kit. So I'm just melting my wax pellets. I'm pouring out my wax on some parchment paper. And then I've grabbed a cool looking stamp and I'm just going to center it as best I can on top of my wax mound. In the meantime, I'm going to clean this out right away, because if you wait till it cools down, it's much harder to clean. So I'm just waiting for that to harden. And then I'm carefully peeling it off my stamp, like so. So next I've applied a star on the front of my card, and then I've used red line tape to glue my wax seal, like so.